Last night, Donald Trump showed once again that no matter what you think of him, he's a savvy politician who knows how to get a response when he wants it. The former president sending New York Democrats scrambling when he endorsed Democrat Daniel Goldman in his run for Congress representing New York's 10th congressional district. He also endorsed Representative Carolyn Maloney in her bid for election in New York's 12th district. Again, both of these candidates, lifelong Democrats. Trump despises them both. Goldman was even the lead lawyer for Congress in the first impeachment case against Trump. These weren't really endorsements, but just a way to rile up Democrats, and boy, did it work. Rather than just ignore what was basically trolling, the supposed Trump-endorsed Democrats and their opponents completely took the bait, reminding anyone who follows this sort of stuff that Trump is just way better at this than they are. It started yesterday when Trump posted a two-part message praising Goldman in a way that anyone could see was dripping with sarcasm. On Truth Social, Trump said, quote, "Lawyer Dan Goldman is running for Congress, New York 10, and it's my great honor to strongly endorse him. I do this not because of the fact that he headed up the impeachment committee and lost, but because he was honorable, fair, and highly intelligent. While it was my honor to beat him and beat him badly, Dan Goldman has a wonderful future ahead. He'll be very compassionate and compromising to those within the Republican Party and will do everything possible to make sure they have a fair chance at winning against the radical left Democrats who he knows are destroying our country. I would like to thank Dan for fighting so hard for America and for working so tirelessly to stop Trump. He was not easy to beat, but winning against him made me realize just how very talented I am." Just how very talented I am. Classic Trump. Clearly said in jest, but also sending a message of dominance. So Goldman's campaign scrambles, and within 2 hours, they released the following statement that reads, quote, "Last week, Donald Trump attacked Dan Goldman, who led his impeachment. Now he's pretending to endorse Goldman. True to form, Trump is trying to meddle in an election." He isn't pretending. He's just having some fun at your expense. Trump is trying to meddle in an election. No, you guys are letting him meddle in the election. He went on, "This is a pathetic attempt at fooling Democrats who are far smarter than Trump is, and it's clear that only one candidate in New York 10 is living rent-free in Donald Trump's head. Buckle up, Donald. Dan's coming for you." Pathetic attempt at fooling Democrats who are smarter than Trump is. He isn't even trying. You guys are all just taking the bait. He is living rent-free in all of your heads. And then during a debate last night, Goldman's opponent, Mondaire Jones, who's apparently coming at Goldman from the left, said this.
You're going to hear tonight Mr. Goldman say he was the first to do a lot of things that he wasn't the first to do. He was not the first to call on the FDA to do that, but he was the first candidate on this stage to be endorsed by Donald J. Trump.
He was endorsed by Donald Trump. Trump knows his endorsement of a Democrat is a curse. Sure, maybe he's trying to endorse or curse the more electable candidates, the same way Democrats have been trying to get the most radical Republicans elected. But regardless, it's amazing how effective he is. Trump made a similar comment against New York Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney that read, quote, "A vote for Carolyn Maloney in New York 12 is a vote for the future. She's a kind, wonderful person who's always said terrific things about me and will support me no matter what I do. Just as I supported her early on, she begged for a check with no quid pro quo." Rather than just ignoring it, Maloney fired back on Twitter, saying, quote, "Laughable," and she rejects any endorsement from Donald Trump. She added, quote, "Trump doesn't respect women. He instigated the attacks on January 6th and claimed that the 2020 election was a big lie." She rejects any endorsement from him as if it's a real endorsement. And Trump was even able to compliment her opponent, Jerry Nadler, who also figured prominently in the first impeachment. Writing, quote, "On the other hand, Jerry Nadler is likewise a hard-driving man of the people whose energy and attention to detail is unlike anyone else in Congress. He's high energy, sharp, quick-witted, and bright. You can't go wrong with either. But Carolyn Maloney is the better man. She will lead our country into a very green and prosperous future. Carolyn has my complete and total endorsement. She will never let our conservative movement down." Now, to Nadler's credit, he didn't reply. But a third Democratic candidate running against Maloney and Nadler did. 38-year-old lawyer Suraj Patel saying, quote, "Donald Trump is scared of a younger, more dynamic Democratic Party. He knows how much more effective a new generation of diverse, energetic Democrats will be in stopping his movement." Again, by endorsing them, Trump knows that if anything, he's hurting their candidacy. And Suraj Patel is suggesting that Trump is actually endorsing the other candidates. The only thing that's clear is that Trump kind of made a joke out of the Democratic primary races in New York. And so I think you got to say chalk one up for the former president. But joining me now is Democratic strategist and former executive director of the New York State Democratic Party, Basil Smikle. Basil, thanks for coming on the show. All right,
My
so
pleasure.
come on. This makes your folks look pretty pathetic, no?
Yeah, it's as somebody reported, it's tongue in cheek. He's needling them. Liz Cheney loses her primary in Wisconsin. She's a Republican and an enemy of the former president. So in his mind, he's like, let me go after some other enemies of mine in my home state. So he needles them a little bit. There's, as you sort of indicated earlier, there's no real need to respond. But the truth is, the candidates are going to respond because it's an opportunity for them to use that event as a sort of platform to talk about Donald Trump and to sort of go after him again. But none of it, at the end of the day, none of what they said matters because the activists and the insiders that are going to vote in a primary on Tuesday know what really happened here. It's dripping, as you said, dripping with sarcasm.
But is it not a little embarrassing for the Democrats that as soon as this happens, and it's not just that they respond, right? I could see them saying, you, Donald Trump, I don't like you. But then they start pointing fingers at each other. Oh, you got the endorsement of Donald Trump. It's like, no, they didn't. He's just messing with you guys.
Yeah, but I would say this just a little from the perspective of an operative here, just a little opportunity that they might have had should the circumstances have been different. You're right that Mondaire Jones, and you played the clip from the debate, that he constantly hit on Dan Goldman for the Donald Trump endorsement. That in and of itself is not going to work. The only scenario where that actually does work is if you're talking to a voter who just started paying attention to this primary, that you actually have the money to take a piece of that quote, add it to some talking points about what Goldman may have said in the past about abortion, for example, talk about him being rich, package that all in a 30-second ad and blast it on the air for the next couple of days. But guess what? He doesn't have the money or resources to do that. So there's no need to consistently sort of raise the issue in public to give Goldman an opportunity to get some more airtime. So
Basil, unfair for me to say real quick that the Democrats got owned here?
No, I think the point you made earlier, living rent-free in their heads, is probably a pretty apt description.
Basil Smikle, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
You got it. Good to see you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.